Boom. So it is 7:54 and I am lacking my martini. I figured I was going to stream at 8 o'clock, so I'm going to post a note right here. I'm going to go to the end of the scene. And we can't use that color. Let's use this one. Oh my goodness. It's kind of funny to come back here and see that there's actually people watching. I don't understand it. I really don't, but I appreciate it. Okay, so what is going on today? It's actually been kind of a meaningful day from a production standpoint. I've done a bit offline. I actually had the video recording going, but opted not to post just a little too meandering, and I'm meandering a lot of the time. But um, sometimes I think that what I'm doing is truly just going to be too boring, probably for people to have to sit through. Um, what's interesting about the workflow today is every day I get just a little closer to really being satisfied with the order of operations such that the final result is what I'm after. And I think we are getting there. This panel, or these drawings right here and the way they're shaded and stuff, is really finally starting to look the way I expect my anime to look. And I kind of toyed for quite a while with the idea of using the My Paint brushes both for sketching, the pencil test, and for the final art, and that's what you see here, and I have to say I definitely do like it better. So going back upstream here a bit, there's been a fair amount of basically it's been paint, you know, color and shadows, color and shadows, color and shadows, right? So that brings us to this point, and I was debating going ahead and doing the shadows, you know, right now, and I think I'm going to, for the simple reason that I seem to be having more fun when I... Okay, why did that go ahead and connect those? That's not cool. But actually, that's okay. All I have to do is hit the B key here and it'll create a new drawing, so I guess it doesn't matter. Alright, so technically this guy's in shadow a bit, but you know, he's in the back of the room, so to speak. And I wonder if... Now, I don't think I'm going to try to light him from underneath. As I mentioned, I think yesterday, it does not matter if I go outside the lines, because when it renders, it gets clipped. So that means I can be fairly careless with my shadows. Hey, Darren. So I think it's the interesting thing about it is I didn't really realize how much it meant to me to figure this out. It's something that kind of dawned on me today, and when it dawned on me, I found myself thinking a lot less about the craft of animation and more about the business. And knowing myself, whenever I start getting the itch where I start thinking about the business, that's usually a good sign for me. Because I think with the right distribution partners and whatnot, I think we have the makings of a cool property here. I mean, this isn't just one guy screwing around. I mean, I think this is actually going to be a I kind of have crossed the threshold where I'm looking at this and going, you know, this is actually going to be pretty good. I feel confident with where it's headed. Now, there are still some questions to be answered. I'm not convinced that we have the pieces in place completely to successfully get episodes written in a timely manner and that sort of some of the business logistics of creating a show on a schedule is there are some unanswered questions there for sure. But I'm basically pretty optimistic that we're going to figure it out. So that looks pretty good. I'll deal with his mouth later when I go ahead and time it out. I mean, the way all I have to do to time it out is I can go to any given frame, and he says indeed, so I can just hit the Alt key and hit the down arrow and go indeed, and basically OpenTunes indeed say it'll get the timing right, pretty close, and it's really quick and easy to fine tune it, and then I can just hit Alt up arrow and poof, take those frames back out. So the workflow of sort of pinning down the timing seems to be pretty straightforward. I'm actually going to add a little bit more here. I think I'm going to go ahead and shadow him under the brows. I like that. Cool beans. I'm definitely going to be moving away from this sort of thing like we have right here. I'm going to leave that in there because it's kind of baked into the drawings and it's not a big deal. It looks fine, but I'm sure that I'm going to be moving toward keeping the shadows on their own layer. Okay, what are we doing with Akari? Well, and she's got her knife pointed at the guy that's got the window behind him. So basically, she's backlit as well. And again, I am not going to be overly concerned with staying inside the line since I've got it set up to clip. Why worry about it? All it's going to do is slow me down if I concern myself with staying inside the lines. And obviously when it renders it's going to look super duper, so that's that. Alright, and I'm going to go here and make a shape so I can go I guess there was a fairly lengthy period of time where I really wasn't sure if this was something I wanted to do, and I guess it kind of recently crossed that threshold where I realized, yeah, I'm not only want to do this, but I'm gonna do it. And it kind of changes the dynamic. And it's important, if you're going to accomplish anything, you have to get to that place where you commit to it. I don't know how the heck I forgot to fill her hair tie, but I did. So, okay, so now we got to get the shadowing around the hairline. That's fine. Man, I was just thinking, Darren, isn't it like, I mean, I know Germany's like 6 or 8 hours ahead of us. Isn't it like 4 in the morning there? Okay, a little bit here. Not too much. Okay, so let's deal with highlights. Again, you want to... I wonder if I should just do it like this. And fill that. That actually looks more correct. You know, if you're going for the anime aesthetic. So what's weird is this wasn't really happening before, but I'm kind of seeing this in my mind now. I'm seeing what I want to do. That seems to be a trend. The more I do this stuff, the more I'm able to sort of pin down in my mind clearly what I'm after. So, still quite late. I'm a few. Yeah, I've got my martini. So you're only 5 hours ahead. So Germany must be 6. My former foreign exchange student. Well, this is going back to like the year 2000. Is from Wuppertal, Germany. Frames. Okay, so now in this case, let's see, got the right color. All right, so the same thing applies here. I kind of want to backlight this guy. So it's kind of like he's, or I say backlight, I meant the opposite actually. He's lit from in front, so he's got a shadow from behind because of this light that's coming in the window. So, yeah. Mainland Europe. So how has the whole pulling out from the EU, how has that really affected you guys, you know, as far as just people on the ground? I'm curious about that. Mm-hmm. One thing I decided to do on this guy's costuming, quite simple actually, and again an example of using the My Paint brushes. I'm really happy with it. Is I've just got these, you know, the bad guy's collar and the bad guy's robe, and I just swapped the colors. So his collar is gold, and his robe's burgundy, and then the decoration is the opposite. And I'm just using these little plus signs to decorate it, but it looks pretty good, I think. I mean, it's got a nice feel to it. Okay, so here we need to do a little more with this. Not totally stoked with the brush. In reality, to the man in the street, it hasn't. Not one bit. It's no different. See news about it. That's the end of the world. Yeah. Yeah, I'm the one of the biggest things that I have noticed in the United States when it comes to news and the media and all the rest, you're seeing a lot of it in regard to Venezuela right now, is that honestly, we can't believe anything we read. The media, it's not just the right or the left, it's both sides. They grab a hold of a story and they just run with it, and it seems like more often than not, the more dramatic the revelation, like with the Mueller investigation and things like that, the more dramatic it is, the more it seems like a bombshell, the more it always turns out that the truth is somewhere in the middle. And so all the people that were just, you know, having orgasms over the fact that recent revelations are going to really bring down the Trump presidency, you know, and then it turns out not so much. So I don't know, that's why I am alt-center. I think there's always the truth and the wise point of view is always kind of right flat in the middle. But in the media, of course, what we like is we essentially what we like to do is we like for um, our we like to have our heroes and villains, and this may be an American thing. Let me see here. Scary news is the bottle of wine. Nice. You can probably live with that. We like our heroes and villains. We want the story to be, you know, huge revelation. It's a little creepy, actually. What I'm seeing going on in the media space is a little creepy. You know, you can't be one of these talking heads on the news shows without, you have to start every sentence out with "look." You know, somebody asks you a question, you say, "Well, look." Always you have to start by saying, "Well, look." It's like become a thing. If you don't say, "Well, look," you're not a cool commentator. It's like bizarre. Really bizarre. And whatever we see on the news is it's just, you know, the truth is I can speak about these things fairly articulately, but not while I'm drawing. It's kind of futile to try, actually. But, well, the thing you're saying about the EU and Britain, from the sources that I've read or heard, or, you know, on YouTube and things like that, it's the same with Venezuela. I mean, you get really, really polarized stories from both sides, and, you know, there are those that just want to paint the Maduro administration as just really corrupt and all the problems come from him, and then there's other people that really want to blame it all on capitalism and, you know, sanctions, and I'm sure that has definitely had an impact. But yet the people in the street are going, you know, gosh, it's really just like not that bad, kind of thing, you know, or whatever. Well, I'll take that. I'll take that and let that one go. Like I said, it doesn't even matter what the issue is. I guess I have two thoughts. One is that I'm alt-center. I think the wise view is always right in the middle, A. And B, generally speaking, if you really want to understand anything that's going on in the world, don't follow the ideology and don't follow the money. If you follow the money, you usually can get to the reasoning why things happen the way they do. Almost always. Not 100%, but usually follow the money. Okay, so boom. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to give him, I guess we'll let a little bit of light shine through here, but that's definitely going to be in shadow. And yeah, an animation channel isn't really the the place for the political hot topic. So doing the shadows on this guy's hair is kind of not super fun, I must say. But I guess if I just go outside the lines like I've been saying, I think that's probably going to look pretty good. And I'm going to have to wrap that there. I don't know if I close the shape. Looks like I didn't. I almost actually have to turn this off in order to see what I've got. Okay, so I'm probably going to be okay to go like that and like that. And then I can fill that in, and I think we'll be in good shape. Yep. Okay. So maybe another day with Strange Time over here at the moment. I'll tell you what, dude. The whole world is going through a strange time. This is a really, really, really interesting time to be alive, I must say. You know, it's some of the coolest in some ways it's the coolest time to be alive, and in other ways it's, you know, it seems like there's more bad going on in the world because we hear about so much more as well. I mean, the internet's been an amazing tool for that. Let's see. Just double checking. I want to try to make it pretty consistent. The thing that makes it fun is once you sort of know your plan, and then you can start speeding up. It usually is definitely more fun. Yeah, that's cool. B key. I'm not sure. Honestly, I think that these shadows here are misguided. I feel like they're breaking the anime illusion, if you will. It's like it's too much shadowing. It's too smooth. So that's better. So yeah, other than the ear, I think. Cool. Oh yeah, his eyes. I forgot his eyes. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Right. Well, and the other thing is I'm going from sketch to finished art a lot more quickly. I really struggled with this. Was a bigger decision than one might think, which is to say that do you do it like an assembly line where you do all of one thing and then all of the next thing, or do you think of it more like each picture stands alone, you know, let's kind of finish them up one at a time? And the answer falls in the middle, actually. The I can totally see whipping quickly through an animatic or a pencil test, just because let's see, she's got to be backlit as well. I mean, not backlit, back shadowed. It's like this idea that there's a light in front of her. So what I'm finding is do the animatic, but then basically either go straight from the drawing right to ink and paint, or else do the animatic and focus on the action and the movement and the stuff that's really fun, and then but go then again go straight to finished art. So separating ink from paint from shadows, I think, is not going to work so much for me. I think the idea of sewing those all together so that I can, once I know the story, once I know the action, and I know that it's going to play, it seems to be more fun and more effective to just go straight to, okay, now let's make these pictures look as nice as they can, right? Is really what you're trying to do. And it is cool, man. You know, I'm looking at what I'm producing and I'm feeling like, man, you know, aha, got a color in her eyes. I'm feeling like it's looking satisfactory. N key, so that's the actual size. So yeah, I mean, dang, I really do think it's pretty cool. Now, highlights. I said I was going to do it differently here. So I'm going to just try to feel this. Hopefully I got it closed. Ah, I did. Okay, now that's maybe a little too much. But it's cool that you can just erase back into it. And no worries. Okay, so I'm going to slap a couple highlights on here. Just a little kiss right there just to give it a sense of some specular sheen. But you just don't want to go very far with it, or it quickly becomes too much. Okay, so this guy is shadowed from behind again. So obviously, what the effect we're after, I'm going to exaggerate it in this wide shot. But this is the effect you're after. It's like the idea that there's a light that's coming in and down, which means he would have a shadow underneath here. Okay, it's looking great. Hey, I appreciate that, Darren. I do appreciate that. Well, that's been another fun thing about doing anime, is making some international and not international friends. Okay, now here's what we need to do. Hit the S key, grab all of this, Control C, and then let me just look. Okay, my bad. I gotta hit the B key. B key. Cool. Alright, so now we're going to go alright, and now this should be really quick. Just hit the B key and oh wait, sorry, these guys need to be again shadowed from behind. And we'll kind of hide under there. Yes, I like the idea of him looking like he's actually coming out from the shadows, if you will. All right. Boom. 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 And okay. Back to here, and now actually I already did the shadows. It's really hard to keep track of. Yep, there it is. There it is. Excuse me. So let's take this shot where we've got those shadows in there, and let's copy those to here. Oh, okay. Apparently I changed the positioning slightly for this shot and forgot that I did that. So that's close enough. That's close enough. Alright, and now we'll just do it the simple way, like so. Alright, and okay, and so we want to hit the D key so we can actually just duplicate that frame and then go back in and fine tune. Alright, so this guy actually needs a little more shadowing behind him. Now we want to be careful here. You don't want it to chatter. This is where, honestly, cutting and pasting would probably be smarter, but at the same time, it has a little bit to do with, you know, what's our eye going to be looking at. You know, a little chatter we can get away with as long as we're not being stupid about it. I don't know if that makes sense, but okay. And boom. Okay. So same thing again. We're gonna go shadow here. B key. Shadow him under the eyes. I'm going to erase back into this to clean out that area right there. If a little bit sneaks through, that's okay. Boom. Alright, keep rocking here. And frankly, this should probably be something like that. And he's gonna look like he's, like I said, sort of coming out of the shadows. So, all right. You definitely want the eyes to be kind of in shadow. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Bless me. Sorry about that, folks. I did not mean to sneeze in your ears, but I did, didn't I? Okay, sorry about that. Well, it just goes to prove we're all just human after all. Okay, so he needs to have a shadow under his hairline. And I think... Cool. Now, these guys are easy. Other than this guy's stupid hair. They're relatively easy. Well, I guess it's actually fairly easy because I can go like this. I can cheat. Yep, we're going to do that. And then we're going to go like that. Fill it. Again. Fill that. And same thing here. Cool. That's looking good. On to the next frame. Oh, okay. So we're gonna thanks for the smiley there, dude. Alright, so let's Control C, hit the B key, boom, paste that okay, or hit the S key, Control V, and then should I even try? I'm gonna try just because I'm feeling bold. I don't know if this is gonna work, but if it was gonna work, this is what would work. I'd anchor this on his neck and then go like that. And yes, it works, but of course there's more work required. So and we'll just go ahead and do that number. Looks great. And this one wants to be actually 78. And this one, once again, 79. And this one, we're back to needing to highlight these guys. So my live stream froze. Yeah, it looks like it froze. Okay, so back to work here. At least it hasn't, at least the streaming hasn't been stupid like it used to be. Alright, so I'm gonna just kinda back shadow these guys. You know, as I always like to say, work from the known to the unknown. We know we're gonna have to have this rim shadow, so let's just get that done. Then we'll concern ourselves with the rest. Right? So same thing on this guy. Okay, and then he's going to have shadow under here, like so. Under the eyes, like so. Obviously there would be shadow back there. And this guy, I think I'm just going to give him those ominous eyes. And a little bit of nice shadow under his, excuse me, his hairline. Why am I all sniffly right now? That's kind of weird. It's not allergy season, at least not last time I checked. Alright. Okay. I think we're in relatively good shape here. Yeah. Yeah, it's sufficiently simple. So like I said, you just don't want to get too much detail because then it starts to look silly. Okay, these guys, let's see, they're lit from behind, so why don't we just do this? And that's going to have to be repeated. So I'm going to go ahead and shadow her like so. And then we'll have to evaluate what we can reuse on the next frame. Okay, and I don't know. I'm just going to go like that and see how it looks. Okay, these guys, we know the routine. Don't we? Yes, we do. So let's do the routine. See, when it's rendered, it's going to look like that. So it's definitely looking pretty sweet. Unless I'm sadly misguided. But I don't think I am. Boom, boom, boom. So sorry for sniffling tonight, guys. This is kind of weird how all of a sudden I'm Mr. Sniffles. Okay. And we don't want to forget the shadow under his neck. Okay, so yeah. So what we want to do is hit the B key. Boom. And then, well, I should have hit the D key, but that's okay. We'll do it this way. We'll go S key and select everything except her head. Control C, Control V, and now we can go ahead and fill that in. Alright. Ba-da-da-doomp. Ba-doomp. Doom. Doom. Okay, let's just check that. That feels pretty good. Now, what about highlights? We want to be really judicious here. I think that's about it. And then just a little hint. Okay. Right on. So there's that and that. Okay, now this seems like we've seen this one before. 392. Where is 392? That might be, yep, that's it. So 82. So let's hit the Q key. And there it is. And then the next one is again going to be, I know we've seen this before. Not quite though. I know we've seen this before. Have we seen this before? Well, no. There's where the guys came in. It's kind of embarrassing that I can't remember this stuff. That's kind of close. but it's not it. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to delete this. Delete. And hit the B key. Boom. And we're going to just do it the hard way. Alright. I wish it wouldn't fill all this in like that. That's somewhat mildly irritating. Okay. Back to show. I'm not surprised you don't remember. Well, it's the ordering. The problem is the ordering. I know the drawings pretty well, but it's really difficult to remember which one was used where, and you sort of have to rerun the story in your mind to remember what happened, you know, and where you might have used XYZ drawing. So, but you know, it's funny about that though. It's funny because it points up the difference between your experience as a creator versus the audience's experience. Because, especially with like a movie that is really meaningful to you or something that you really enjoyed, that movie or that show can really affect your life, and so for you it's like this frozen moment in time. Sometimes it's associated with music too, but for you and for your life that becomes a really significant thing, whereas for the creator who created it, that might have been a very brief moment of time, not something that they necessarily even want to come back to over and over. And also when you're creating something, you've got this whole cascade of stuff that you're keeping track of that's all part of the process that other people don't really know or understand. So anyway, what I'm getting at is it's often the case that when you go back and talk to a creator about what they were going through when they were maybe making this movie or working with that actor or whatever, and the answer will be, geez, I don't remember. I just don't remember, you know, because for us, I've heard this from Steve Cannell, I've heard it from Stan Lee in interviews. People ask him about those legendary, you know, when you created the Fantastic Four, you know, they didn't know they were making history. They did not know they were making history. They were just getting their work done. They were just meeting a deadline. It was nothing to them. They didn't know it was going to explode. It was just another stupid story they made up. And then for whatever reason it grabbed. So their memory of it and the culture's memory of it are way different. And I think that's important to remember. Why do I think it's important to remember? I don't know. It's just really amazing. I've experienced that with my own films because, you know, the one film I made, Healed by Grace, has actually really impacted some people. Not hugely, a ton, but there have been a number of people that where it really was meaningful in their life, that, you know, that movie. But if they were to ask me about what was going on, you know, the background around some scene that was maybe special or whatever, I'd be like, I don't remember. I have no clue. We were just hammering, like, working, trying to get the thing done, you know, trying to make the movie. It's definitely an interesting thing how much intellectual property can mean to people, and that experience that they have is really different than the experience that the creators have. And that's not a good or a bad thing, it's just a thing. You know, it just is reality. Usually when people are, I'm not saying this anime is going to make history or anything, but the truth is, yeah, thank you, Darren. The truth is that nobody realizes that they're making history when they do it. Nobody. You know, they're just trying to do what they do. They're just trying to, you know, I'm sure at some point the Beatles were just trying to find a way to you know, make a living doing something they really like to do, you know. They didn't know it was going to go, you know, hog wild bananas. And then you have to sort of cope with all the changes that that brings, you know. So, let's see. I don't know why I'm checking the renders here, but okay, well, I'm glad I did, because I realized once again I forgot to color in that girl's hair. Hitting the F key, boom, and boom. Okay, that's better. And actually, one thing it does point up is that I want this shadow to actually go over her eye, not just down to it. Really, to be complete here, I should not only put this in, but also I had made a brush for doing specular highlights as well, so I could do this over top. And man, she looks pretty, doesn't she? How many times do you hear about someone having a song play at their wedding just because it means something to the couple, but it's just a song to the writer? Yeah, and I think, you know, if a song winds up being meaningful to a lot of people, and you know, it maybe makes you some money and all this sort of thing, then of course, as the artist, it becomes more important to you. But I will tell you this: when you, it's amazing how important the creative process is to the people who do it. If you look at an old interview on YouTube with Bob Seger, for example, it's really evident that what he wants people to notice and what he wants to be remembered for, and this is not a bad thing at all, but it's just you can sense it, is his songwriting. Now, when I think about Bob Seger, which he was kind of important in our world because I'm from Michigan and he was a Detroit guy, so you know, he was, you know, basically Bob Seger and Grand Funk and Ted Nugent were kind of the three guys in the 70s rock and roll world who sort of came out of Michigan. But the thing that Bob clearly wants people to appreciate is his songwriting craft. And he is a solid songwriter, no question about it. But when I think of Bob Seger, I don't think about the songwriting. I think about the voice. You know, when his voice was at its best. But for him, that's not what's important. And it's really funny because I always think, you know, he has this really crazy, amazing technique. And you never hear him talk about it. Never talks about singing. He'll talk about being on the road, he'll talk about songwriting, but never singing. And to me, I go, golly, I mean, what's the thing that is important to people? It's hearing the voice, you know? I think I'm going to Kathmandu. That's really what I want to do. You know, not everybody can do that. You know, especially and do it night after night. That's funny. I sing that song because I actually have a YouTube video on my channel of me singing Kathmandu. Just me and my acoustic guitar. So if you want to hear me sing Kathmandu, it's here. That came out all right. It was like a one-take wonder kind of thing. I don't know why I was in the mood to do some Seeger that day. All right, B key. If I ever get out of here, it's what I'm gonna do. All right, shadows. Well, the funny thing about it is, what's weird to me is how much people don't ever talk about vocals. When I'm tuned into music, what I am really keyed into, like more than anything, is vocals. So when I was in high school or college, I was listening to Boston and I was listening to Journey, and but the reason I listened to those guys was because of the voices. It was always about the voice. And but you never hear people talk about that. Nobody's gonna interview Steve Perry and say, hey, you know, for some reason you kind of lost it. You know, the vocals seem to turn to rust. Why is that? I mean, what's going on with your technique? That question's never going to be answered, because obviously it would be an embarrassing question for one thing. But it's weird how some guys lose it and other guys don't. Hey, Inio-san. So Bob Seger, if you know anything about vocal technique, Bob Seger and David Coverdale from Whitesnake, and certainly Brian Johnson from AC/DC, all actually use the same basic technique. It requires you to sing way back in your throat, so that, like I was doing Kathmandu, you know, I think I'm going to Kathmandu. You know, you're really pulling it back in your throat, and it's an interesting technique because it lets you hit the high notes, but it doesn't destroy your voice. So you know, so here you got Brian Johnson from AC/DC who can still wail. You know, how old is he? Like 70 or something, you know, and he can still wail. And yet Bob Seger, who essentially is in his heyday, was using a very similar technique. I mean, I understand how vocal techniques work because I've sort of studied them, because I've had to do vocals for, you know, jingles and things like that. And for some reason, Bob lost it. So when I think about Bob, who hasn't really been able to hit the high notes since the 1990s, I think, dude, why don't you just, like, get some training? Or, I mean, he could get it back, and he doesn't really seem to be that motivated to do so. Well, why would that be? Well, again, it comes back to the interviews. Being a great singer, the likelihood is this, that being a great singer came fairly easily to him, and that he just stumbled on the technique that he had when he had it. But that wasn't what it was about for him. What it was about for him was the songwriting. So to lose the voice was just, well, I'm getting old, it's no big deal. And it's not. It's not a big deal. You know, it's just natural. But I find it a little frustrating, because it's like, I know that with a little training, and of course, you know, Bob Seger, he's a smoker. You know, he smoked for years too, so that does make. But so is Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson, I think, smokes like a chimney, actually. So being a smoker does not mean you're going to lose your voice. So let's see, Akari's hair. I wonder if this is going to work. Oh, it did! I can't believe it. I thought for sure that one was going to bleed out. Alright, and where is her nightie? Boom. Nightie and Iris. So yeah, Steve Perry's voice was shot to pieces by the mid-1980s. Why? I think he was just doing it night after night after night, and he did it too much. And actually, for that guy, I'm going to actually fill these in, because I'm going to do this with the highlight layer. Getting out of the business like he did was actually the right move. I think he was wise to do that. Okay, so now one thing I'm wondering is this, what layer is this on? Okay, good. That's good. So I need to, so this is actually in the dialogue layer, which I haven't been over to in a while. So I'm going to go here and just erase these lines, because they really don't belong in there. But Steve Perry's got a new album out. He's actually done it. It's a tragic story. And frankly, I'm a little disappointed with the album, because it just really sounds like more of the same of what he did in '97, which was the last time he put anything out. Well, it just goes to show, it's a lot of times it's the chemistry. I really do think that it was the combination of Perry and mainly Jonathan Cain that allowed them to write those iconic songs. You know, and another thing about all that I find kind of interesting is how short the actual career is. Look at the Beatles. most of everything the Beatles did that literally changed the world happened in just like 3 years. It was really quick. I mean, 3 years goes by, you know, don't blink, because 3 years just went by. It's crazy. I started poking at this animation thing. Now, okay, admittedly, I had always been a cartoonist. And I had wanted to do animation when I was in high school, but, you know, I've got other things going on. I'm doing, you know, I've got message on hold clients. I was making movies from about from about 2006 to about 3 years ago. You know, it was not quite a 10-year run, but it was a run. 8 movies. But yeah, it's amazing how normally whenever you get some success, the success actually happens kind of quickly. Doesn't usually last very long. Somebody, I once heard somebody say that, I guess it was actually Steve Cannell who said this. I believe it was him. It was basically that everybody gets about 3 formative moments in their life. So, in other words, 3 key decisions you're going to make in your life that will really shape the course of your life. And I think that's probably pretty true. Yeah, it looks really good. Highlight. B. Okay, so talking about this other stuff like music and singers and blah, blah, blah. Are you guys cool with that? I mean, I'm not like pissing anybody off, am I? Because I'm not talking about animation. Golly, I like it. So I wish that this was, I don't know. Let me just toggle through with the Q. Wait. I actually think that's the one. Diggity dog. Yep. I'm going to have to deal with his mouth at some point, but that's cool. So this one I know is definitely needing a new drawing. Wait a minute. Or does it? I actually think it might not. Yeah, it doesn't. My bad. We need to go here and Q, 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 Q. Just keep going back. And there it is. Okay. And now this one, screw it. I'm going to just delete these and do this one from scratch. Thanks, Darren. I appreciate that. It's like I'm blabbing and I don't even look at the comments, and then I realize somebody said something to me, so sorry for the slow on the draw there, folks. But yeah, it's fun. Unfortunately, Valerie's really under the weather, and so she's not able to hang out too much today. My beautiful princess is sick. Boom. Okay. Now what? Well, I wonder about... See, this is where I'm using the My paintbrush that's sort of a pencil-y thing. And you're going to see me doing that more and more, because I like the way it looks. I like the way it renders. I definitely need to color that guy's eyes in. Because you guys have heard me say it. What I'm after is the feeling of scanned pencil drawings without having to scan pencil drawings, which would definitely be a nightmare in terms of workflow. but I love the control it gives me over the lines, and it feels good, you know. Okay, so now I need to do this. I need to go B key and then go plus plus plus, just like that. Plus plus plus, like that. And then grab the opposite color, the same thing here. This is what I decided the texture would be. Now I could have messed around with like OpenTunes like textures, you know, like you have here in the texture tab, but this is a pretty efficient solution that I think looks pretty good. So okay, now it's shadow time. Where am I here? Alright, shadows. Let's rock and roll, baby. Alright, B key. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I love the fact that I can just have the transparency in my color by using the alpha setting, but also not have to mess with the worrying about going outside of the lines. I love that. No, I mean OpenTunes. What is this? Oh, I know what it is. On Discord, you're talking about I saw there, Darren, you had some little community thing going, some contest or group participation thing of some kind going on. I don't even know why I was on Discord. I logged in there a couple days ago, and I think I was looking for... I think what I was looking for actually was... I was like, is there anybody else that's doing, you know, stuff with OpenTunes? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just give him that. I like that rim shadow. I think that's cool looking. And also, plus, on this shot, he's really giving this, the ninja, the look. Like, you better get your act together, fella. So, for that reason, I'm going to actually shadow him a little bit more. Okay, so now comma key, period key, comma key, period key. Alright, feels pretty good. Got to come back here though and grab this gold, because I was kind of putting some alternately colored outlines, or, you know, animation lines. Oh yeah, I gotta color this guy too. Alright, B key. So we gotta we'll do it like that. And of course he's gonna be shadowed under there as well. That feels pretty good. And of course, if that was the case, he would definitely have a shadow there. Simple stick for your instance, but it's helping to build a community. Yeah, that's always a good thing. Getting some noobs putting together their first animation, which is fantastic. Yep. Well, if anybody was going to do a little OpenTunes school, I think you'd probably be the guy, Darren. Yeah, I mean, I could do a schooling thing, but it would be more about animation probably than character animation, by the way, in particular. I think that's where my interest lies. I think that's where my talent lies. So I think, I hope, I beg and plead. Alright, okay, so now this one's going to be easy peasy, because I can go da 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 dun 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 F key. Boom. Okay, now that's not quite perfect. But it's close. It's close. Nice. That needs to be more of a straight line. And I got to start from down here so that I know the shape is going to be closed. Okay. I don't know how this is going to play, but I'm going to give it a crack this one time just to see. Boom. Alright, let's fill it and see what happens. Meh. I don't like this. Very, very good. And I think I can... Wait. Is this the same shot as this? Nope, it's not. I wonder why I changed it. It's a bit strange. Probably just for variety. So I'm going to hit the B key. Boom. And I guess there's actually a fair amount of inking here to do as well. I'd love to get a group together building something looking as professional as yours is. Ha! Well, it's not professional yet. But I couldn't contribute, and I don't know if enough people working on time work on that. Well, that's always the problem. You know, the people that are good at it, frankly, are generally working. You know, as opposed to, you know, because once you learn it, you want to get out there and either do something or get a job or whatever you want to do. I don't because I don't need a job. You know, I have my own business and I have no desire to really work for anyone else. So, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't be okay. You know, it's more like who are my business partners going to be with this thing. You know, I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue, but I am quite comfortable dealing with distributors and, you know, that's why I've been thinking about definitely thinking about the business side of this and what that's going to look like. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Sorry, I'm treating him as if he was one of these other ninjas. This guy's supposed to be lit from in front, not behind. And I'm just going to be quick about it, by gum and by golly. And of course he's got some shadows under here and a little bit of a hairline. I wonder if I should do that. That actually looks pretty good. Let me see what that looks like. Definitely. Definitely. I'm actually going to go back to the earlier one right here and put that in there. That looks good. This is kind of embarrassing, frankly, but this happens. This has been happening with this project where I sort of stumble on a technique that looks good or gets a better result, and then of course I want to go back and change the stuff I did earlier to sort of catch up quality-wise. So there's a bit of back and forth. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and go with that. Alright, he asks her for the knife. Okay, So now, what did we forget? Well, we forgot this. We forgot the stars. Love the difference in the put the yeah, except for the fact that his eyes disappear. Ah, they all look like ghouls. But yeah, it does look better. It's nice to see what it's really going to look like. So I need to go in and fill these guys' eyes. Fill, 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 fill. Oh yeah. Except this dude's not shadowed yet, so boom, boom, and shadow, 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 under there, back there, around there. Nice. Cool. Let me see what that looks like. Smirking. Except I actually think maybe a little bit of highlight would be useful there. Okay, and then Mr. Bad Guy Leader dude needs some eyebrows. I wonder about that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a different expression. Because he's basically saying the knife miss. So it's kind of a, you know, he's being nice-ish, but there's definitely a veiled threat behind that niceness. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, which might be a little bit too Disney. I don't know. Meh. I think it looks alright, actually. Just thought, ignore if you like. Change the background color of your drawing page from white so you can see when you've missed the eyes. Yeah, I never thought of that. It doesn't surprise me that you can do that. I mean, OpenToonz always seems to be pretty smart about options. I actually spent some time today just going through the manual, just rereading the manual. Like, is there some little feature that I've missed that would help me, you know, get better results or whatever? And I think that the Oxer was talking about the preview. Or I'm sorry, I read your word previewing in your comment. Oxer was talking about version control. And I don't know if he realizes that there is a complete version control system built into OpenToonz that you can set up that uses SVN. You know, Subversion, I think, is the to track changes and allow you to archive old versions and all that sort of thing. Now this, actually, I need to hit Control Z here because this shot is going to be the opposite because she's turning around now and facing these guys. I don't actually think that's going to work, but yeah, so this needs to be like that. Oh, I like those rim lights, man. I think they look great. Now the problem with them is I would have to put in another layer of shadows in order to I mean, normally what I do is I use the shadow layer to you know, sort of highlight the eyes or whatever, and here, since everything's in shadow, I need to go back in with the brush and touch that up. Now I had said and have been sticking like glue to the idea that I'm going to be doing that so that I can go in and do lip sync. Okay, and as long as we're here, we'll just, you know, and I may add some glow from the window or something, but basically, so then we'll just add a little bit of texture here. But yeah, that works out pretty well. Now I do need to okay, that's a little strong. 415A. Did I use that drawing before? Excuse me, guys. Sorry. I must be getting a cold. That's a sucky deal. So actually what I need to do, I need to take this, and I do need to put this like that. I know I sound like an idiot. And then Control C, right here. This shot needs to be like that, because I had forgotten when I did that one that she is turning away from the light source. So with that, I'm going to grab these guys, and I'll tell you what, yeah, I've been going for almost an hour and a half, so I am going to go ahead and kill it. Alright, so as always, guys, thanks for tuning in. I've been a little impromptu about it lately, but I try to give 5 minutes after I start live streaming before I start blabbing and really trying to get any work done. But I think that's good for tonight, and I'm sure we'll be doing it again real super soon. So